Okay.
Hello, Udo and Shri Mataji.
Shri Mataji, Daniel.
Nice to meet you, and hello, everybody who are watching us. Thank you for that. We are, like usual, Udo SZEKULICS and Daniel Boston, trying to talk about our experience and more Udo experience in Sahaja Yoga. We have already two episodes about his beginning in Sahaja Yoga, starting in 1984. I remember you that Udo is one of the oldest Sahaja Yogi. He's from Austria. He's doctor-in-law, excuse me, and author of this book. He have a website as well, which I have to apologize. I didn't put the link yet, but I will put it now. I can put it in each of our meetings in the description there. He have a link to his Sahaja Yoga website. In the first two meetings, we talk about how Udo get his realization. Very interesting one. For the people who didn't watch it, I advise you to go there in Nepal. So, and the beginning of Sahaja Yoga in Austria, his experiences with Shri Mataji and traveling. We stopped in 1995. He's already married when we have this discussion. Already he told us about his marriage. So I'm very keen to listen to more stories about you and how you meet Shri Mataji and other experiences in Sahaja Yoga. So please.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So the big number of meetings and the longest times I was allowed to enjoy the divine darshan was actually these programs in Hungary. When my wife and me, we went down every time, and together with the Hungarian collective, prepared the venues for Shri Mataji, the hotel rooms or the room in the ashram. One time she also stayed in the ashram we had in the south of Budapest. After 95 was the last year when Shri Mataji visited Budapest and did a public program there. After 95, of course, I did not have so many encounters or was not allowed that often to go into Shri Mataji's room or to talk to her. So a few times she asked me to come, like after one puja in England, Easter puja. I don't recall exactly which year. It was in a school in the countryside outside of London, and I was just looking at the chain which was locking the entrance way for the car, and opened it when Shri Mataji came, and again opened it when she left, and the car stopped, and the window went down, and she said she wants to see me in the evening in her home. And this was one of the few incidents, and then we went, but together with our leader from Austria and some other people. And Shri Mataji talked about a few people in Austria, but I don't have such good memory of it because unfortunately I didn't write it down. And then in the years, I think also until 95, it was more or less parallel with Budapest. Perhaps it went into 96, 97. Often I was allowed to join these so-called leaders' meetings in the castle in Capella. When I was at the pujas, I didn't go, and due to reasons of my job, I couldn't go to each and every puja. But when I was there, I was usually asked to come because Shri Mataji wanted to know the status of our court proceedings with the former leader. There was a a fight in the court for one ashram, which was more or less, I think, a court fight for vibratory reasons, because it was quite clear from the outset that we had no right, really, no written contract or anything on that, only his promise once that he said, I give it to you, Shri Mataji. But for reasons to work out something, Shri Mataji guided us so that we had to go there, and then she wanted to know how that stands. So very quite often, 3-4 times a year in these years, I was in Capella in this room when they had this leaders meeting, and it was quite interesting for me because I was no leader, so I had no say, and I had no need and no temptation at all to join these topics or to talk to them. I was just observing, and my observation was the same, which I had made already in the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, that even the leaders, of course, were subject to the usual human peer group conditionings, and these meetings went sometimes very similar to the board meetings I had. I was in the board of a bank then, and had management responsibility and had all kind of meeting supervisors. And sometimes these meetings were similar. I must say, looking back, surprisingly seldom things were judged or discussed, even in front of Shri Mataji, by taking vibrations. Of course, Shri Mataji sometimes then said, now check the vibrations of this, check the vibrations of that. But the discussions among the leaders quite often were on the mental level, as with all of us. Yeah? So, and sometimes perhaps they also had their special Maya, leader Maya, which was perhaps even deeper than the infantry Yoga Maya. I don't know, but I remember one meeting very vividly and very clearly, and that was when they wanted to get from Shri Mataji a decision about the royalties for her tapes, for her audios, and for the videos. I don't know where the topic came from. It could be that Sir CP had started it. It could be yogis had started it. It's also not impossible that Shri Mataji mentioned something once. And in my memory, which might also deceive me, so that's more than 30 years now. But in my memory, it's like a 2 or 3 hours discussion, more or less the whole afternoon, in Shri Mataji's room in the Capella Castle. And the round of the leaders, most of them from Europe. Perhaps there was also one from USA or even the Australian one. I cannot recall that really. But it must have been 12 to 15 people. Most of them men. I can't recall if there was perhaps 1 or 2 ladies amongst them. The discussion was like this, that they said, Shri Mataji, should we make £15 for this and £20 for that? And Shri Mataji dodging this topic and saying, I'm not good in that. I don't know about it. So it continued. They were talking about themselves. Should we make a differentiation? How much for the audio? How much for the video? Or should it be by the length of the recording? And Shri Mataji, should it be $12 for the video and $5 for the audio? And again, Shri Mataji would say, I'm not good with money. It's something you people should do. And that went on and on and on in this repetitive pattern somehow. And they really tried very hard. They thought it should be. It's good. I mean, definitely, we should give the goddess, if we pay puja money, we should also, for her lectures, at least have some symbolic kind of amount or something. And at the very end of this lengthy and repetitive discussion, then they ended up with, I think, with £10 for videos and £5 for audios. And Shri Mataji said, if you say so, do it, or something like in that direction. Yeah. And the meeting was ended and they went out. And within the next 10 or 14 days, the message came out. At this time, there was still no internet, but it was probably spread by phone to the leaders. And the Sahaja Yoga Collective over the world was told, Shri Mataji has decided now on the amount of the royalties. But Shri Mataji has not decided that. And I'm sure they didn't want to deceive the yogis, but I'm quite sure when they went out of the door of this meeting, they firmly believed Shri Mataji had taken the decision now. So with all things which we get from tradition, which we get from reports from yogis, leaders or normal yogis, we should be very careful and check vibrations, because you never know in what kind of Maya a group of people or a single person is when she reports about something she experienced or she thinks she has got from Shri Mataji. Yeah, these were the few times, the times when I was still allowed to go in, and otherwise, besides sometimes, as I said, this puja in England and or a few other opportunities, I did not. I was not in personal meetings with Shri Mataji. My wife was more often, because she was cooking in Capella, and they always went there to get the recipes and the menu for the puja weekend. But I was not there. But a few years later, 1999, we got the chance to go from Austria to other countries, which was also very nice from my job. I was working in a bank, and the bank first wanted me in Hong Kong to put something right, because in this financial crisis in 1998, when the Asian currencies went down and some Asian economies for a short time when in kind of turmoil, we had a lot of problems with customers in our Hong Kong branch. So they sent me there to do something about that. And we gladly, my wife and me, we decided together, of course, accepted that, because we very much like to travel, and Hong Kong, China really looked very appealing. I knew it from my visits I had done to the branch there before, and how interesting and lively this city is. So we went to Hong Kong, and we dove into in a new collective. It was not a very big collective in Hong Kong. We were like, I don't know, 10 to 12 people at the most, if everyone. Yeah.
Just before we go to Hong Kong, I want to stop a little bit here, because your stories about the meetings, leader meetings, and decision taking. It's a very interesting topic to me. So I want to ask you a few questions about that.
Okay.
Because you are in a very interesting position. You've been there without being there. I mean, you've been,
in a way.
You are more like an observer.
Yes.
To everything. And all you're recalling is like a very, or maybe not a very, but objective observer, because you are not involved directly. You weren't a leader, but you're still there. So you are familiar with the term of establishment, usually.
Of course,
These days are used very, very much, the term of establishment. From my perspective, and not only myself. Unfortunately, at some stage, we can use that term including to some leadership in Sahaja Yoga. So I want to ask you if you agree with that with that sentence. Do you believe this behavior? It's a kind of establishment behavior.
Of course, because also the leaders, though they may be or may have been deeper yogis, because Shri Mataji said that once that she chooses the deeper yogis only for leaders. Though they may have been deeper yogis, they were not perfect yogis, and some human conditionings or patterns which we have, of course, remained in them and came out somehow. And I was very aware of that also when I saw things where I believed it's not exactly where we should go. But at the same time, I was aware that Shri Mataji had so strictly told us not to oppose the leaders and to do what they say until she puts them right, that it was clear to me that there was a certain purpose, not only, but also a kind of special surveillance of what the leaders did through Shri Mataji. And I tried never to attack or criticize someone directly, unless it was something extremely foolish or repeatedly done, which I thought was wrong.
But on the other hand, yes, in many speeches, Shri Mataji talk about the discipline and how we have to be united
Yeah, yeah,
around the leader and around the collective. But also Shri Mataji said in different other talks, and I remember especially one when something bad happens, and Shri Mataji criticized openly the collective for not telling her what's
yes, yeah,
what's
yeah.
happened. Very,
Yes, that's
very
also.
strong. And I'm not talking about the airport uh,
Okay.
uh,
Hmm.
event.
Incident in Paris.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking about a much bigger things who happened in a collective in Australia, and they are not. And she said, "Why you don't ring me? Why you don't repeat repeatedly? Why you don't
inform me. Yeah,
telling me?"
I remember.
Obviously, this is a Maya because we know, and the collective know that she knows. So,
Yeah,
but she wants to make it very clear that you have to take uh, your fate in your hands, and you. So it's a very fine balance because between not criticizing the leader and raise the
yeah,
problem
yeah.
when is the case. So I have one
It-
of when you tell the story about the leaders meetings. I have a little experience like that with one of our leader. For few years, no, not too much, maybe 1 year and a half, something like that. No, not too long. We have two leaders in Romania. Uh,
yeah,
Nena Uncle Dan Costian and Ortiz Brăvescu. Și Mataji choose them both in the 1990 India tour.
yeah.
When they come back from tour, we have a new leadership as two leaders.
Okay.
And for we start from the beginning, they were completely different personalities. And first of all, they don't get together very easily. And in the end, Shimataji choose only one to remain there. Probably that was necessarily for the first year or whatever. But I remember what's happened when one of the leaders come. I mean Ortiz come from Cabela or from an international puja or at least European puja, and he told us very proudly about the obviously he was attending one of these meetings, although he didn't know too much English. He told us very, very proudly about the collectivity of leaders. And I was shocked. This term wasn't his invention. He came with that concept from that meeting, from those meetings. It wasn't his first meeting, but he came very proud. And you don't know exactly what's happened. That's a collectivity of leaders who knows better what it is. There are many things and I was shocked because although I was in my first few years in Sahaja Yoga, maybe that's happened in my second or third year in Sahaja Yoga this way.
Yeah.
But I never ever believe in someone better than others. I never believe in the superiority of any Sahaja Yogi, not only the leaders at a spiritual level. And that's very bad because sometimes these guys, like in your case, in what you witness about the royalty, they can, again, maybe without purpose or without malevolent intentions. I don't believe it, because some of them maybe can be malevolent because you see what's happened with them after they left Sahaja Yoga. Because most of them they left Sahaja Yoga, and some of them in a very bad manner. So I bring that in discussion because although now we don't have leaders, we have councils, we still have a kind of leadership. We still like to look to better Sahaja Yogi than us. Some of us. And I always said that's not Sahaja Yoga. In the moment when you look to someone else for guidance or for leadership, in that moment, you deny your quality as a guru.
That's true.
You put yourself under someone else. And there's no one else except Shri Mataji above us. Maybe some Sahaja Yogis are better organizer. Maybe some Sahaja Yogis are better, I don't know, they know a little bit more knowledgeable. But that's nothing.
True.
I don't believe in superiority of any Sahaja Yogi over
everyone
someone else.
can do all the Sahaj work that is necessary.
No one is better. The worst is the influence they have it in the way of how we organize, because we have to have the minimum organizing, So I was looking several times at the video, very late video, when they decided about the central committee. And what's exactly what you told me about the royalty. They were together around Shri Mataji and Shri Mataji, should we make that concept? Yeah. Okay. So yes. So
yes.
Will be a central committee. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Central committee then.
yeah. It's a big Maya, and on top of that Maya, then it comes that Shri Mataji was so tolerant on so many things. I'll tell you one thing which I think the whole Sahaj world should know, which also came from a leader. I think from the very one in Australia you mentioned, the very right-sided guy. And that is about the mantras in Sahaja Yoga. When I came to Sahaja Yoga in 84, all the mantras were said with at the beginning the Shakti, the female deity. It was not Jesus Mary, it was Shri Mary Jesus. It was Shri Saraswati Pramadeva, Shri Lakshmi Vishnu. The only one exception was Sri Shiva Parvati. And now, I wonder that it happened in my first year in Satya Yoga. I think at the end of 84 or at the beginning of 85, it was all turned around and suddenly it was Sri Jesus Mary most of the times and Sri Brahmadeva Saraswati. And a few years ago, I met one of the very old yogis, one of these so-called hippies, which were not all hippies, who were in England in the 70s at the beginning with Shri Mataji. He was not, he's a scientist, and he said he was sitting in the room of Shri Mataji in India. I don't remember what year it said. And a lady, one of the attendants came in and said, Shri Mataji, this leader from Australia wants to talk to you. And the leader came in and the leader started right away. He said, Shri Mataji, the creation is such a fantastic thing and Shri Brahmadeva has done such a great work. Should we not say Shri Brahmadeva Saraswati instead of Shri Saraswati Brahmadeva? And Shri Mataji, once more, in the memory of these old yogis, yeah, if you think, do what you like, more or less, yeah. And so probably it was, of course, a longer talk, but he went out and he told it to all the other leaders that Shri Mataji has said we should say the mantras like this now. And when he had gone out, Shri Mataji turned to this old yogi and said, see, now they are already changing my mantras. Yeah,
very, very interesting. I love this discussion with you and the people who know this kind of stuff, because bring a new meaning to a lot of stuff. Because I come in Sahaja Yoga 6 years after you, in 1990. And I was told, we were told, that also we have to say the name of the goddesses first and the god after, except Shri Shiva Parvati and Shri Brahmadeva Saraswati. So already this habit was, and until now I do that because that was
that's
the
how
way,
they taught us. Yeah,
the way I learn it. But guess what? I have another very interesting example from a person who was there in the beginning of 80s, not too late, 80, between 82 and 84, in India. So Shri Mataji give us very few mantras, not too many mantras. So one of the most important is the matrix mantra. And the matrix mantra evolve in the 3 mantras for Sahasrara, which is a matrix mantra expanded. And one of the very first time when the Sahaja Yogi, Indian Sahaja Yogi, used that mantra, they said, Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali. And Shri Mataji said, you should say Shri Mahakali first.
Wow.
Because that's the normal way. It's left, right, central. That's the normal way of rising the Kundalini, rising the attention on the channels. You start with the left first.
It's the chronological order also.
It's the
first is
spiritual, chronological, vibratory order, all the orders. And they look like that. And she said, okay, you already printed, because they print it in a booklet or something like that. And they said, yes, Shri Mataji, we already printed like that. And she said, okay, forget about it. Many years after that, maybe probably 10 years ago or so for me, 10, 15 years ago for me, I have this revelation, not a revelation, but anyway, in my mind, without knowing the story. Why I, not we, my wife and I, in our domestic meditation puja. Why we don't set Shri Mahakali first? That was my, and we start doing that at home. And not long after that, one Sahaja Yogi, which I talk like I talk with you now, told me that story. So since then, I have no problem of starting with Shri Mahakali in my personal meditation, puja, everything. And when I'm doing online with some other people, I told them the story, I told them the meaning, and I asked them if they are comfortable to do that.
Good
I
idea.
cannot find one person who said, no, we should stick with it. No, everybody agree with that. But I don't raise that problem on the collective meetings or whatever. I behave dually a little bit. In my personal way I do that. When I'm in the collective, I do whatever it says. So another example of starting to twist what was that's one lesson. The second lesson is, if you listen to Shri Mataji and if you see her behavior in both cases, the one you tell the story and mine, in the end, not like doesn't matter, but either way can be both way. That's Shri Mataji approach.
Yes,
Probably we should go with that approach. Either way.
She tolerated so much, because if you think how often mantras were recited in pujas, and there were wrong mantras, there were, I don't know, all kind of things, and Shri Mataji just tolerated it. She didn't every time say. It's very rarely that she intervened and said, do better like this or like that. That's very rare occasions. Or that she gave names herself, like the Raja Rajeshwari and all these things. She's, I mean, one could have a pessimistic attitude and say our attention is anyway so bad that it doesn't matter much if we say it from the end. Or one could have a more optimistic one and say it's the grace and the leniency of God who gives us so much leeway and tolerates all these things, even if we do it wrong.
We know God and Shri Mataji especially tolerate a lot from us because she's the mother. She cannot punish us too much. So, but on the other hand, I believe it's our duty, it's our way of trying to please God, not because God need to be pleased, because he's above desires. But because doing that, we're getting closer. The connection between us and divine, it's much closer if we are doing more protocol, more the right things to do, the right things to do, the auspicious way. That's my approach. That's why I go to the roots, to the basics all the time. What Shri Mataji wanted, what Shri Mataji said, what are the roots? Because Ganesha Atharva Shirsha is not Sahaja Yoga. Ganesha Atharva Shirsha is 20,000 years old. Gayatri Mantra, it's from Rig Veda and so on. Purnamadam, you know the mantra Purnamadam. We use it usually at the end of the Havan.
Oh, I see. I didn't know
Purnamadam, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnam Udachyate. So that's a beautiful mantra. So maybe one day we will talk about that because I was immersed in that mantra trying to understand it. One of the rishi said at one stage, if all the knowledge, if all the scriptures, all the books will disappear by whatever mistake or catastrophe, and only that mantra will remain, that will be enough. So that mantra contain everything.
Wow.
The mantra is usually in Vedic times. I mean, even now, you'll find it in the beginning of the Upanishads. That's the opening of
I see. Yeah, yeah.
all the Upanishads. At some stage, it's used as a end of the Havan, as a conclusion of the Havan. So everything is around.
Yeah.
I use it in a both way, but maybe one day we should talk about that.
Okay.
If you go, I advise you to look for at least 4 or 5 translations. I will
Yeah,
send you a
yeah.
material. I will send you my notes.
Oh yes, please. Yeah, that would be very kind. Yeah, yeah.
I make a little material about that.
Ah,
So
super.
we can
Yeah,
talk
please.
about it. It's a very, very good subject.
Yeah.
So I believe Sahaja Yoga should extract everything from the uh, root,
Scriptures and
from the root.
truth. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing wrong. Saying that doesn't mean we have to do to be fanatic or too protocolar in a Hindu manner.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
But who can go deeper with that?
it's a
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowed me to have that divagation. So I believe it's better to come back to our to our story. So
Yeah.
you are in Hong Kong now.
Yes, we came to Hong Kong and we had a very good time there. It was a very nice, compared to Vienna, small collective. But there was a small ashram in one quarter of Hong Kong in Causeway Bay, and Alex from Australia, who was there since many years and has tried to put together and keep together the collective, and then also spread Sahaja Yoga into mainland China from Hong Kong. And there were some genuine Chinese people, and also a lady from UK and a couple from New Zealand. Yeah, Chris Marshall and his wife with the kids.
Julie.
Yeah, Chris, Julie, and the 2 boys. And we enjoyed Hong Kong and the collective, and we had programs there, of course, and the usual meetings amongst us older Sahaja yogis. And it was a great change and a very beautiful change of atmosphere and having a new collective. And after 2 years, I had to move again to Singapore. And there again, a new collective, also not much bigger than the one in Hong Kong. There were more Indians there. We only had 2 or 3 Chinese guys, which changed a lot over the last 25 years. Now they have lots of Chinese and also young people there. It was also very nice and interesting. And just, I think, 2 years after we had left Singapore, Shri Mataji came there with CRCP for, I don't recall exactly, I think for a venue of CRCP. And we also came back and helped them a little bit for the hotel and all that. And we had a huge international seminar with yogis from Malaysia and China and India coming. We filled a big hall in Raffles Hotel completely up. The hall was rented until 11 o'clock in the evening, and at 12 we were still there. But the the Asians and the Singaporeans, they don't throw you out. But at 11 o'clock, one waiter was out there waiting. At 12 o'clock, 2. At 1 o'clock, 4 waiters, and at 2 o'clock, they had a row of waiters out there. And then we knew it's time now we go, because these poor guys have to clean up everything and prepare it for tomorrow morning. Yeah, that was, and then from Singapore, we went directly to Prague, where they had another job for me in this bank group. And that was very different, of course, from Asia, but it was a very beautiful collective they had in Prague, with an ashram a bit outside there and programs every week. Yeah, so for, I think, how much was it? 6 to 7 years altogether, we were away from Vienna, and then in 2005 we came back. We got our daughter also in Prague, and so we returned as a family of 3 in 2006, in 2005, end of 2005, to Vienna, where we had started building a house already in our time in Prague. And here we are now, 20 years at the same place, which is a record for us. We never stayed at one place that long before. And yeah, in Vienna also things had changed in this time a little bit in Sahaja Yoga. And they started building this big ashram and meeting hall near Malprasht, which also contains an apartment for Shri Mataji. And Shri Mataji came then in, when was it, 2009 or so, and visited it and stayed there. And yeah, and since this time, everything has changed. As you say, we had councils, which in my opinion didn't really work good, because in our case, it was much too big. With 30 people, you cannot take decisions in an efficient way within a few hours. It's impossible. It's endless discussions and things. And now we don't have really a council. We have meetings. They call them open heart forums, where everyone is invited and where important decisions are taken. But actually, very often, only few people, like 10 or 15 people, come to these meetings. So it says something about how important the collective thinks these meetings are, but it also says something about our collective responsibility. And I think we still have not found the ideal way how to organize the collective. But that's something which now the younger generation must take, to just ask us old guys. Me and my friends who came into Sahaja Yoga with me, we are all over 65 now. We are not the one who should shape Sahaja Yoga now. I think it should be the generation of the Yuvas and the guys who are perhaps up to 35 or 40.
Yes, you are not the one who shapes Sahaja Yoga, but on the other hand, no one have to shape Sahaja Yoga. So
yeah, I mean, just
I know what you said, but yes,
yeah.
You raise the ball to the bar for me. But saying that, the importance of the people from the beginning of Sahaja Yoga, it's paramount. Saying that doesn't mean the young people look at us or at you, not at the old people, like the elders, like someone who is above. But have to be a balance between putting the guys from the beginning in Sahaja Yoga on a pedestal on one hand, and listen to them sometimes or ask them for advice. Have to be the balance. Usually it's happened one or the other. Or the elders are immovable, so the elders, or they are not listened at all whatsoever. So this balance, and I take the opportunity to talk about that, hoping that we are some young people listen to us. This is the balance they have to to reach the new
Yeah.
and the young people.
Hmm.
Sometimes look at the elders, look at the beginning of Sahaja Yoga and learn a little bit. So
Yeah.
that was my advice.
I, I
Yes.
like the approach of Gregoire very much because he, and as far as I know, he was the only one who, by his own decision, left the board of the foundation and of NIPC. I think when he was 62 or 63, he said he wants to kind of retire. He's here anytime if anyone wants some advice or counsel. He will help, but he doesn't want to be in the driving seat anymore. I think that's a very sound approach for
Yeah.
our generation.
Yeah. I want to ask you something else because we kind of exhaust the chronological stories. You told us nearly everything you remember from we stop in 85 and we reach 2005 and the present day.
Yeah.
But you bring in the discussion another very interesting subject for me. Hopefully will be interesting for the people who listen to us. Vibrations against the discretion. What
Hmm.
your what your is your take on that one when it's coming to have a decision?
It depends. Some people feel vibrations very clearly all the time. They are the lucky ones. I'm not one of these. Some people like me, when they have some time to prepare and meditate, or when they have a good day, they feel vibrations well. So in these situations, I think if one can, one should take vibrations. But actually, the Hamsa, the discretion, in the ideal case, should tell you the same as the vibrations. There should not be a gap between that. But I mean, sometimes there are such obvious things that you need not take vibrations, and people and I know negativity can also mislead us and uh, can try to give us a cool sensation, even if that's not vibrations. If we are not absolutely nirvikalpa, we can still be subject to such a deceit or to such a maya.
I love you. So
Good.
yeah, that's the the perfect answer, and I fully agree with you. Um Maybe should I give it a little bit more of a touch of clarity? So, but you said already, shouldn't be a gap between feeling vibration and discretion, but I said a little bit more. Basically, Hamsa belong to the Vishuddhi.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
So no difference between the vibration and the Hamsa. My only problem is with the people who have no trust in their discretion or in their decisions, and they understand probably a little bit wrong the role of the vibration, and they take the vibration or they ask the vibration, which is not even very auspicious to ask vibration for every little domestic
Yeah,
or not important stuff. I
no,
tell
we
you
should
my
not.
I tell you
Yeah.
my example. We decided to immigrate in New Zealand, which was a huge decision without taking the vibrations.
Hmm. Hmm.
We
I
just said
see.
we will go to New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And everything was arranged in that way. And even when we come to New Zealand, everything was fantastic. I come
Wow.
without visa, without residency. Sorry, I have only working visa for 6 months.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
46-year-old. I didn't know very well English. I have only 5,000 American bucks. I have two children. Delia didn't work. I work in a supermarket. So, but I stay in a ashram. We pay ridiculous amount of money, very few, $70 per week for everything, including
Yeah.
the newspaper. The school was just on the same street in front of the
Yeah.
ashram, the school for
Wow.
the kids, and so on. So wasn't easy for 1 year, but after one year or so, I find a job on my field. So everything was fine. Not easy, but oh boy, I'm very glad we are on the
Yeah.
same page. So
I think it's the thing Shri Mataji said such few things which were really recommendations, divine guidance for material things. She said we should oil our hair once a week, and she said we should take the ghee. And I find the ghee is so important. I sometimes I miss out a day, but usually I do it religiously.
yes,
uh, and it helps such a lot. You can feel how it soothes down the whole system of the Vishuddhi
yeah,
when you put it in. You also may notice that your discretion really improves,
yes.
and last not least, you don't easily get a cold, even if it's very cold in wintertime. It's such a fantastic thing. One really should do it, but I think very few yogis do it. Yeah. Yeah.
We are also one of the few who are doing. In my case, thanks to Delia. So Delia will love you for what you said because she's very keen to do that. I do ghee, but only in the winter before I go to bed. But
Hmm.
we have some other things. I learned about coconut oil on the Sahasrara from the beginning. On my very
Yeah,
first month
yeah,
in Sahaja
yeah.
Yoga, the friend Sahaja Yogi told us and do the massage with the coconut oil. Uh,
Yes.
Also putting some vibrated water in the eyes before you go to sleep.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
improve
I
not
didn't know.
only the
Yeah.
improve not only the seeing but also the chakra with a little
Hmm.
just a drop of vibrated water
That
when,
water.
when you
Wow.
go to bed. So
Yeah.
this kind of stuff we are doing a daily base.
Hmm. Hmm.
Delia maybe twice, not maybe Delia twice per day, and I'm the bad one because I'm not doing twice per day. So, more than that, she reads somewhere about the massaging your body with oil before you have a shower.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a very good for the chakras.
Yes, yes.
Massage.
Especially in spring, one should do. Yeah, I think the Vedas say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when it's a little bit warm, because when it's cold, even if you have the bathroom heated,
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
in the summer
Yeah.
it's much easy. And
Yeah.
again, Delia is the one who bring me the little bottle. You forget the bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, let's hope that our discussion will be here by few other people who will start thinking about our suggestions, which is very good for your our chakra, our subtle
Yes.
system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, all these kind of seminars about treatments, in my view, should be held much often
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
to talk about each one of us experience or exchanging
Yeah.
uh, exchanging ideas.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
certain things Sri Mataji said, kind of almost by the way, on in certain places where there was no microphone and no audio, but people told us later. Yeah. So many things she said like this.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. Dear Udo, I thank you very much for everything you told us, all the very interesting stories, all the uh, um, side stories, which are sometimes very welcome. So after we close the recording, we will talk a little bit about what we are doing
Yeah.
in the future. But for now, I want to thank you and to thank to everybody who are watching us and encourage you people to send us your feedback or whatever you believe uh, you want to tell us. Thank you very much again, Jai Shri Mataji.
Thank you, Daniel. Jai Shri Mataji to you and everyone watching. Thank you.
Until next time, Jai Shri Mataji.